Are you ready? Oh, I'm ready. Are you ready? I'm ready. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Let's do this thing, man.
The League Podcast.
Yeah.
How's it going, guys? You got Dylan and Jay here with The League Podcast. If you guys haven't followed us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, please stop what you're doing right now. Go ahead and follow us at theleague.podcast for our Facebook and Instagram. Again, at theleague.podcast. And for our Twitter, it's at theleaguepod, P-O-D. So like I said, if you haven't followed us yet, please stop what you're doing. Stop listening. Go follow us. That's where our link is going to be posted. And that's how you're going to be able to hear these beautiful, wonderful podcasts.
That's right. Get all the hottest info to you quick by your boys, yours truly.
Yes.
So what are we covering today, D?
Hey, let's talk about that Thursday night whooping. I mean, what were you and Tyler talking about?
Oh, I know.
I mean,
I was eating my words.
Boring. It's going to suck. Like, everyone's bummed. I mean, everyone was. I was seeing all kinds of social media posts about what a boring game it's going to be, all these memes or whatever you want to call them of, ripping on the Rams, ripping on the 49ers. But holy moly, what a game it was.
Yeah, defense obviously wasn't a factor in this game. It was long balls, running the ball, everything.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
it was crazy. And I don't know about the ass whooping because San Fran actually came back. It turned out to be a close game. I was at the edge of my seat at the end of the game. It was what a great game. It was really a great game. I was eating my words because I said it was going to be a boring game. I definitely thought it would be. I saw differently. It was fun.
I mean, everyone did really, and just me being a Rams fan, obviously I had more hope. But I did tell everyone to start the Rams defense, and I was gonna start them, and I had them up until the beginning of the game. And
I've been talking Dylan out of this the entire time. I picked them up last week, got nothing out of them in a different league, not the league. And so I was telling Dylan, they're not a team to get. I'm glad that you made the decision to drop them. Hopefully you guys made the same decision and dropped them. If not, sorry to hear that.
I know. And I actually made a huge mistake, and I picked up Gerald Everett because he was my sleeper, and I started him. He had 0 catches for 0 yards. So I got a big fat 0 in my tight end position, so I'm not looking too hot this week. So I am, I'm scared. I'm 1-1 right now. I possibly could be 1-2, but I'm really hoping my guys come up big. And anyways, let's talk about the game a little bit. Todd Gurley, he's already matched his total amount of touchdowns that he had all last year with 6 touchdowns this year, 3 in this game. He looks like a different. I mean, he doesn't look different. He looks like the normal.
Same.
Exactly. What we expected, So Todd Gurley.
He's a monster.
What about Jared Goff, man? I mean,
so check this out. Brian Hoyer, who put up, I think, 26 or 27, 28 points last night, came out of nowhere. Him and Jared Goff. So Hoyer was started in 0.1% of leagues, and Jared Goff was in 0.7% of leagues he was started in. So, and Jared Goff put 30-plus points up, did he not?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know exactly. But I started him in 2 leagues last week, and, I mean, he didn't do too hot for me. So I dropped him in both those leagues, and I'm really bummed that I didn't keep him. But that's fantasy football for you, man. I mean, it is what it is. And, if we do give you some bad information, I mean, you just never know with some of these guys, You never would think that Brian Hoyer would almost put up 30 points for you. I mean,
well, and Rams corners are good, but it was just a high-scoring game yesterday, And you could did LaMarcus Joyner ever come back, or did he stay sidelined? That hurts, obviously. That's a huge part of their secondary. So
Kayvon Webster, our other starting corner,
he's already out.
He's out, yeah. So it's been tough, but Sammy Watkins, breakout game. We all kind of talked about it last podcast that he was going to go off, and he did. But of course, he actually didn't get hurt. He went into concussion protocol. So, but that's still considered an injury. And
I think too, they said ankle. I mean, it's just the nature of Sammy Watkins. He has a horrible ankle. Obviously he was laying the hammer last night, so he goes into concussion protocol. But if you started him, or you started Gurley, or you started Pierre Garcon, or Brian Hoyer for
Carlos Hyde,
0.1,
it was a great fantasy game for everyone.
Wow, very fantasy relevant. So hopefully you guys got somebody in your lineup.
And I want to talk about something that I did too before the game. I picked up Matt Breida, or however you say his last name, and when Carlos Hyde went down, you never wish injuries upon anybody, but in fantasy football, when you have that handcuff, it's like the best feeling in the world. Like I was jumping in joy, like, oh my God, I picked him up before waiver. Like everyone's going to be wanting him so bad, and I have him, and Carlos Hyde came back, so
I
it's pretty
think that's
depressing.
also a really good example of a really smart gameplay by you dropped your defense, or you could also drop your kicker for that matter for that week and go take a flyer on someone on a Thursday night game that, like you said, is a handcuff to somebody, because you might as well have that person and be able to, if nothing happens, you can pick that kicker back up or that defense back up. But I think that was a great call, and I love it. I think that's something that you should possibly look out to do in leagues if you need that extra guy, So,
well, it's
like
crazy.
You are in a position of right now.
Exactly. And like you said, pick him up, and if he doesn't do anything, drop him. But Carlos Hyde's very injury prone. So I honestly think I'm going to hold on to Matt Breida and just ride with him at least for, a few more weeks unless I really need to. But it's hard to keep someone on my bench when I have David Johnson on there just sitting there too. It just takes up roster space. But really, I mean, I'm not going to really play many other guys and who is in my starting lineup. But so pretty much great game last night. Great fantasy production from Todd Gurley, from Carlos Hyde. Pierre Garçon was on my bench. That's depressing. But great game, man. It was really fun to watch. We want to get straight into our games, though, and get through this, So let's talk about our first game on the list. We covered 8 last time. So if you haven't watched or listened to our last podcast, go ahead and do so, because we do cover the first 8 games of the football Sunday. And today we're going to finish with the next 8. So, Jay, why don't you take over, and let's talk about the Giants and Eagles.
All right. Well, obviously, Giants, I'm hoping for, I think, all of the Odell Beckham fan owners out there want to see 100% participation of Odell Beckham. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. I have him in the starting lineup, but I would obviously hate to see any limited participation. I want to see him full steam ahead, which I think he will. He was saying stuff, about he's done being on the sideline. He needs to get the rhythm going. Their offense looks horrible. They just got to unleash him fully. So
he's their offense, man. He is their offense. So they need him. They need him out there.
And Eagles DBs are shaken up, torn up, beat up. So this could be a good opportunity for the Giants to maybe get back on their feet. But they're playing in Philadelphia, and the defense is still solid without those DBs, and that offense is firing on all cylinders right now. I love Carson Wentz. I love, obviously, Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith and Aguilar, for that matter. And what am I talking about?
My favorite guy. Start of the week. Start of the week.
I was saving my best for last in that offense. Obviously, Zach Ertz is a monster, and he has to be on. I'm so glad that I drafted him, and I was able to draft him, because I thought he would be gone. I was very happy to get him, and he's going against the Giants defense, who are very obviously shown that they don't they get scored on. They have this season at least.
Well, especially
they have a
great
great
defense,
end. But tight end position, a shot for them,
because they got great corners. Janoris Jenkins, he's an amazing corner. He's one of the top corners in the league, and Eli Apple has actually really developed into a good player.
JJ actually didn't play last game.
He's questionable for this week too. So that kind of scares me, and that's going to open up more opportunity for, say, an Alshon Jeffrey, for him to come out.
Telling you, if you got any of those Philadelphia receivers, look out for the injury report on the Giants defense, because that could be a huge hole that, those tight ends, those wide receivers, they're going to flourish from. They really will. So that's a game. That's a 10 a.m. game. That's early. But you know what, too? We have a one before that, 6 a.m. But I believe we already covered that 6 a.m. game.
I believe we did too, yeah.
Our last pod. But Giants-Eagles is something to look out for. I hope it's a high-scoring game. We want to see some fantasy production.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you need a defense, then, Eagles are – I don't know how available they are in all the leagues, but they're available in our league, and I'm thinking about picking them up, rolling with them, because of that offensive line is so shaky, and their defensive line is actually, third in the league with sacks right now. So I do like that. But like you said, their corners are banged up, and they do have I wouldn't say a healthy Odell Beckham, but he's coming back, and he said he's going 100%. So that makes me really nervous. And actually, Rodney McLeod and one of their other, Jalen Watkins, their other safety, they're both hurt and they're questionable. So they might not be playing either. So that makes me even more nervous. They got Malcolm Jenkins back there, but still, man, it's nerve-wracking for that. But if they're
Yeah.
getting to the quarterback, then it's going to be turnover Eli.
It is, which is proven by everybody that's played them so far this year. I am disgusted by Eric Flowers. I'm going to go out there and say it. That was
It's
embarrassing what they're letting happen. But Eli, at the same time, he hasn't looked that accurate. I mean, they're scaring me, but I think with Odell Beckham in there, they are a completely whole team. And, I mean, this could be the week we see Brandon Marshall flourish a little more, you know?
I think he's done. I mean, that's how I feel personally.
You hate him.
I've always been I was high on him in the beginning of the year. I was really loving him going to the Giants. I was really high on the Giants offense, actually.
He dropped a crucial pass.
They have the worst offense.
Man.
Yeah, man. I mean, they have the worst offense in the league right now. And who I do like, though, is Evan Ingram. You know,
I know. I was going to mention him next.
So, I mean, go ahead and talk about him. I mean, I like him a lot. I wanted to play him this week, but he was in concussion protocol all week, and he was cleared to play. So it's a little – I'm bummed that I really did play Gerald Everett because there are a few options out there, and I really do like Evan Ingram this week.
That was a surprise. I was really, really surprised to get a text from you saying you went ahead and grabbed Everett. But I understand when your team's playing, obviously Dylan and the Rams, even mine, Packers, if they're playing on Thursday night, you'll grab whoever you want. Last year, I was trying to trade an arm and a leg to get Don Jackson from Dylan, backup running back.
You offered me Michael Thomas, I believe. I believe you offered me Michael Thomas, and I said no because I just had these, I get these visions like, oh, this guy's going to take off. He's going to be the best player in the league, and sure enough, he never is. I dropped him right after the game. So,
yeah.
But anyways.
Those Thursday night games will get you because you just want to watch your player flourish. But
sure, you betcha.
I know how you feel. But Giants-Eagles, that'll be a good game to look out for.
Who you taking? Who you taking?
I think definitely Eagles at home will be hard to beat. At the end of the day, against the solid, I think no matter what defense is, the Eagles' offense looks better right now. So I think the Eagles end up getting this. But I hope it's a very fantasy relevant game. I'm going Eagles though.
I'm going Eagles too.
All right, man. So let's move on to the what do you say, Falcons? Or what was next? What are we thinking for game 2?
Yeah, let's go Falcons at Lions.
Falcons at Detroit.
I think this might be one of the most fantasy relevant games of the weekend. I do.
Wow.
I do. I think Matt Stafford, he's one of my starts of the week. I've really enjoyed watching him play this year. He signed that big old contract, and everyone talked about, oh, he got paid. He's going to kind of go down, but he's looked great. And, I mean, that offense looks really good. Kenny Galladay.
I have Kenny Galladay as my starter of the week. So
yeah,
with Matt being who you're saying, yeah, obviously what you're holding him accountable for that. Kenny Galladay definitely, in my book, has a bounce-back week, just like week 1. I think he gets more targets this week. And obviously behind True Font, they have Jalen Collins, I believe. Collins. Yeah. And then after that, that's where Galladay and Tate are going to, I think, flourish this week. I like Tate a lot this week as well. So
I think Tate has a good week. I do think that we're talking a lot about the Lions, but the Falcons obviously have one of the best offenses in the league. And I mean, it's just I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think, obviously, Julio Jones is a must-start. We don't even need to talk about him. But Mohamed Sanu, I mean, he's been very productive, and he's getting targets, and he's making plays. I mean, I've been impressed. He was one of the top waiver wire pickups this week as well. Yeah, he was out in a lot of leagues.
We definitely mentioned him in our last podcast about picking him up. He's on the waiver wires. He got 9+ targets, I think, last week. He's definitely getting that – the looks from Matt Ryan, and he's a monster. He's a mini Julio Jones. Even though he might be older than him, I don't know. But
I don't either. They're probably around the same age, but still, I mean, I like Mohamed Sanu, and the whole running back situation too. Telvin Coleman, they're both getting carries. They're both getting receptions. I mean, Tevin Coleman scored last week. Devontae Freeman scored last week.
Well, their offense is so lethal that they can run with Devontae Freeman and get him the ball and do the passing with Tevin Coleman to where they're really both startable. Obviously, I think Tevin Coleman's in that wide receiver 2 running back. Running RB2 flex, but
yeah, absolutely. He's
Freeman's
not
a little higher.
He is because Freeman gets those goal line carries, and I mean, you saw it week 1. He got barely any yards, but he scored the touchdown. And last week, he got a lot of goal line carries as well. So I do think that, I really think that everyone on the Falcons offense is pretty startable. I mean, even Austin Hooper, who I dropped for Gerald Everett, I do think I regret that. The Lions aren't the best team against tight ends. Evan Ingram scored on them last week. Whoever they played first week, I can't remember. Arizona Cardinals, Gresham did score on them. but it got called back. So they are a little weak against covering tight ends. So Hooper, if there is a week to start him, it is this week. Give him one more chance, and if he doesn't produce, then get rid of him. I mean, he just doesn't get many targets,
Is
That's
he
the
on?
worst.
Is he on our waiver wire? Did you have the chance to pick him up back up and did not?
Oh, no, I just dropped him for Everett.
Oh, my goodness. Dude.
I know. I really screwed up, and I know I'll take it. And the worst part was watching that Rams game was the Rams. They probably played 60 to 70% in 2 tight end sets, and he wasn't in. It was Tyler Higbee and Derek Carrier, who they picked up from the Redskins, and they both made plays. They both made plays, and it just sucked because when they make plays, they're obviously not going to take them out. And then Gerald Everett came in a few plays, and I don't even care. Let's not talk about it. Let's just talk about this game. Like I said, I think on the Lions side, Matt Stafford, I think he might be in that status of starting every week. I think it's one of those things. If you have Matt Stafford, you're going to play him. I don't care who he really is playing, but I mean, I guess they really haven't faced a really tough defense. But I mean, Arizona's defense is pretty solid, if you ask me, and he tore them up. So. Stafford, I'm starting. Running backs for the Lions. You got Abdullah and you got Theo Riddick. The Falcons aren't too good against receiving backs. And like I said, I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. So I do think that Theo Riddick does get a decent amount of work. Someone on the Falcons, is it Vic Beasley? Is he not playing?
He's hurt. Or he got hurt at the end of the last game. So I don't know. I don't know what his status is going into Sunday, but I think it was a concussion.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think he's playing, though, and that's
obviously would open up that run game quite a bit. I loved what I saw out of Abdullah last week. He was running like a man on a mission. So
yeah, it was his career stats for that one.
I could see him putting in some serious work. And like you said with Matt, he's a fighter, so he obviously is putting up them points because he's gonna come back, always try and get points on the board. So I definitely think Falcons, though, might still take this. In my opinion, Falcons win this in Detroit. I hope I'm not being biased because, they're in the Packers division. But Falcons offense, I think, is just too good to be able to let the Lions win.
I don't know about that, man. Lions are at home. And Lions,
I think Falcons come in there and take it.
I just looked. Vic Beasley is ruled out, and so is Courtney Upshaw. So that is pretty tough on, the pass
run defense.
And run defense as well.
Yep.
So I think Lions take it. I think Lions come out on top, start the season 3-0. That's what I'm going with this game.
Are Falcons 2-0? They are. So this is battle of the undefeated right now. That's a good game. That's a good game to watch, and another game that is going to be very fantasy relevant, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So start your Lions, start your Falcons. All right. What do we got? We got looks like Texans at Patriots. I don't know how I really feel about this game.
So I am excited and nervous and unhappy and happy about this game, all mixed up in a nutshell, because I have DeAndre Hopkins playing against New England Patriots. So I don't know how this is going to end because, I was possibly thinking sitting DeAndre Hopkins, but I just can't look away from the production that he gets
monster
from Deshaun Watson. And he just won't stop looking at him to the point where I can't sit him. There's no way in heck I could ever sit DeAndre Hopkins, even against the Patriots D in Foxborough. But I really think Patriots do some nasty things to this Texans
You think
team.
so?
I don't know, man. Tom Brady is a man on a mission. I really feel like Tom goes ham. I think there's definitely some stuff to look out for. And the person I was thinking about taking him out for I have on my bench is James White, but I'm not going to do it. But there is some fancy relevancy. Like what do you think about what's his face? The other guy.
Dion
Lewis. Do you think he gets any production because Rex, I think, might not be playing or has even less because he's hurt? Rob Isdo said he's good to go, so he's playing.
Amendola's playing too.
Amendola's back in the fold. So, who knows? We could see.
James White, he leads the team in receptions. Did you know that?
I did know that. Leads the team in receptions, and he might even – I think he leads the team in percentage on the field for running backs.
Oh, I believe it.
He plays the most percentage on the field. Obviously, Gillislee is the
Touchdown
guy for the
Mhm.
touchdowns. But I love and what I see out of James White. He's a flex possibility for me every week because of his potential, and Tom Brady loves him. So I like a lot of those Patriots guys. And did you expect Danny Amendola to come out like he did? Before he got hurt? Was that somebody that you would even consider having on your team?
Maybe 10 years ago when he was on the Rams and it was a leading receiver. But, I mean, he's been so quiet because that offense has just been stacked with talent that he would just come in and make one play here and there, With Julian Edelman going down, they're so similar that it doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. But Danny Amendola's entire career has had injury problems. So I just don't think he makes it through the entire year. Would I draft him? Maybe in the late rounds, but he was picked up pretty early in our draft.
I don't think I can't believe he's I didn't even think he would be draftable. So that's why I'm surprised to see him. Maybe I shouldn't say that, not draftable, but late rounds, and I just couldn't see that production out of him because I guess though Julian Edelman opens a huge door for him. So
he does, man. And
interesting. I can't believe he's playing.
If he's playing, I mean, I think he's worthy of a start. I mean, Tom Brady has that trust. I'm not sure about what's his name. Hogan. I don't know if he's playing or not. And if he's not playing, then I definitely am putting Amendola in my starting lineup,
Without a doubt. So, and then Texans, this is interesting to see that Lamar Miller is definitely getting his useness capped by Foreman. Foreman is definitely there and making his presence known and doing a good job. Like
He's a power runner, man.
He's consistent. He is a very powerful runner, and it sucks to see because Lamar Miller obviously had to have been when you get to those rounds where there's very slim amount of running backs and you're like, okay, he's my guy. In that draft, you have to kind of just rely on him, and he's definitely being capped because of him. So,
but he's not going to let Foreman come in and take his job. I mean, if you watch last game, Foreman came in for like a whole series, and then Lamar came back in, and he did a great job. And he's such a great pass-catching back, and I feel like they're going to play down a lot just because they do have Deshaun Watson at quarterback. I mean, their defense is very solid, but they haven't been as good as everyone thought they would be. The Texans were actually dropped in our league, so I'm sure they're being dropped in a lot because they are playing the Patriots. But a lot of the Texans coaching staff is actually from the Patriots. Like Bill O'Brien, the head coach, is from the Patriots. Mike Vrabel, their defensive coordinator, he played on the Patriots. He won a couple Super Bowls with them, and there's some people in their front office that are from the Patriots as well. So they have the Patriots number. They kind of know the way they work. So that'll be interesting to watch. It's going to be interesting to see. Mike Vrabel, I was watching NFL Network, and Mike Vrabel, whatever his last name is, he actually, when he used to be on the Patriots, he used to play with the scout team against Tom Brady. So he would go in with the scout players, and he would call out Tom Brady's plays. And he would just say, they're running this, and he would call it out. So if he can do that as a coach against Tom Brady, I mean, that brings a whole element to this Texans defense. So Texans are actually a sneaky start this week. I mean, it's very risky. Very, very risky. But who knows?
Risky or sneaky? Which one is it, though? Is it risky or sneaky? Because
it's very risky. It's very risky.
I think it's risky, too, because we're talking about Tom Brady here, who's going to put up points.
He is.
Those are some valid
Jadeveon, Clowney.
They have the defense. They have the defense. Everyone thought that they were like a playoff Super Bowl even contending team. Obviously, I think they're even they're a playoff team with Deshaun Watson out the realm. And that defense you think is, but obviously losing Bouye too took a hit.
It really hurt them.
It hurt them, and they went down a bit, but they still have the pieces to get there. They do. So I love that, man. That could definitely be a big game to watch. So that Texans D, but I think that's definitely a risky.
So who you playing? Who you playing from Texans?
Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins. I love what you brought up about them being down because I think they're going to be down. That's why I don't think they're necessarily a good defense to start this week. So I could see you have to start Lamar Miller and hope, and especially in PPR leagues, he's getting that passing work, and he's still running hard. He is. So even with Foreman there. But without Foreman there, you're getting more out of him. So it just sucks to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But if Lamar Miller, I mean,
how about did you see? Sorry, real quick about Houston Texans dropping Jalen Strong?
I did. Jaguars picked him up right away.
They did? I was thinking the Pats were going to pick him up.
They would do something like that, but is Jalen Strong? No, he was drafted to the Texans, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Foreman, he's knocking on the door. I don't think he takes the job unless Lamar Miller does get hurt, which he is shown to be injury prone, you know. So I know that he's taken in our league, but I would definitely pick up Foreman if you have an extra spot on your team. But anyways, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Lamar Miller was starting. Hopkins, I mean, I think he's a must start every week just because of the targets he's seeing. I mean, he saw like 7 or 8 straight targets last week in one drive. So that's just like, it's crazy, man. I mean, if someone's getting that many opportunities, if you catch half of that, I mean, you're going to produce. You know, I think how many targets did Hopkins see last week? 16, 17?
17 targets he saw last week. So
man,
you can't compete with that. He's their guy. Even with dropping Jalen Strong, I was like, wow, like they rely so much on DeAndre Hopkins. It's crazy. And,
they are.
And really quick on Deshaun Watson, I think soon enough this guy possibly could be a starter on fantasy teams. Streaming starter, you know, if you have somebody you need to pick up, he could be a matchup likable start in certain cases.
I agree, but I also disagree. I mean, watching him, he makes such amazing plays, but he also makes such boneheaded rookie mistakes too, you know? Like, I'll be standing there and he just holds onto the ball sometimes for too long, but then you'll watch him and he'll just take off and score a 40-yard touchdown with his legs, you know? So that's what is so dynamic about him, and it makes fantasy. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it definitely makes him that way. And he has some decent matchups, you know, later on in the year. So I think it's something to look out for if you need to, because he's going to be on the waiver wire. No one's comfortable enough picking up a rookie, but I love him. I love him.
It's your boy. It's your boy. I mean, I've been following him since he was a true freshman in college, and their quarterback went down. He came into the game, and he just stole the show. I was so impressed. I was up in Monterey at Chris and Julian's place, and we were watching the game. Yeah, me and Krill and Jill.
Brothers.
Brothers. Love you guys. Can't wait to see you. Getting married in 2 weeks from today. They'll be coming down. It's going to be a great time. I can't wait. Anyways, let's get back to fantasy football. Enough about me.
Yes, sir. So who do you have? You have Texans still winning this game in Foxborough against Tom Brady?
You know what? I might get crazy. I've already gotten crazy enough. I might go pick up the Texans defense and start them against the Patriots because
– Well, I thought, you know, that was crazy. So
it is. It's risky, like we said, but there's high upside with that defense as well. They can definitely get a 5-sack game, you know, which – you know, they could fluster Tom Brady. You know, they can. But I don't know. Let's be honest. I'm not going to pick him up. Anyways, Patriots side, I like you said, James White. I'm starting James White. I think he's a flex weekly, you know. I mean, just it really depends on your roster and who you have. But in my case, I don't really have very many running backs. I mean, my running backs are starting to look good just because of injuries and stuff. But I'm starting James White. I'm starting Tom Brady. I'm starting Danny Amendola if he's playing. I'm starting Gronk, of course.
But hold on. Are there any of those guys that you maybe would think about not starting?
I'm not starting Hogan.
What about Cooks this week, Del?
Honestly,
I think I kind of like Cooks this week, honestly.
I
think he's a start.
And I think, honestly, I'm going to start Cooks every week. I invested, you know, whoever drafted him, invested a high pick in him. So it's going to be one of those things that you're going to start him, but it just – Tom Brady loves his running backs. You know, he really, really loves his running backs and tight ends. I think the stat last week was like he threw like 80% of his passes to tight ends and running backs. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's just risky with those receivers. Danny Amendola in that slot, though, he does get a lot of – I mean, we saw one game, so that's my sample size. I don't really know what to expect.
That's why it's hard to – I would, if you have that roster spot, you know, get him if he's out on the waiver wire. And I don't know if I play him because I want to see more out of him. But like you said about the injury prone, why would you sit him on your bench? Because any given game, he put up 20 points that game, and he went out. You know, excuse my language. That was a bad one. But you might as well play him. You might as well play him if you do have him. So try it out. I think it's a vulnerable Texans secondary that can be taken advantage of against the arguably the best quarterback in the league behind Aaron Rodgers.
Like you said, in Foxborough. So, I don't know. They did get their butts kicked by the Chiefs in Foxborough. So, I mean, who knows? It could happen. We've seen it. It could happen. Not very many Texans I'm starting. I'm starting Lamar Miller. I'm starting Nuke Hopkins, and that's it. Patriots, the only ones that I'm for sure starting 100%, obviously Tom Brady, Gronk, and then someone I also would put in the flex is James White and possibly Brandon Cooks as well. Other than that, I don't know. I don't see it being too crazy of a fantasy game. But you never know. Like Tom Brady scored like 30 points last week in the first half, so you never know what he can do for you. That's my take on it. I do think that I don't know, man. Patriots are good. I think they take it.
Me too. I'm going Pats.
I'm going Pats too. This game I do want to cover. This next game I'm really excited about. I'm in a little dilemma right now with this game, actually. It's the Seahawks at Titans. I have Chris Carson. I have Derrick Henry. The Henry train, choo-choo, is on his way.
Yes, it
He
is.
averaged 6.5 yards a carry last week. You got a linebacker carrying a ball. I mean, when I wasn't playing football, I hated hitting linebackers, man. They always just put their shoulders down and it hurt. So having a running back come at you that's the size of a linebacker with the strength of a linebacker, I mean, nobody can tackle them by themselves, you know. They really can't. So I'm excited, man. The Seahawks defense, front seven, I mean, even their whole defense is solid. But as you saw, Carlos Hyde tore them up last week. Carlos Hyde is a beast. I love Carlos Hyde, especially this year. He's dominating. But like I said, he averaged 6.5 yards a game. You can't look past that. The Titans' offensive line is one of the best in the league. Their offense is built to run the ball. Marcus Mariota only has one touchdown pass this year, so it's kind of concerning against that tough Seahawks defense. So would I start Marcus Mariota? I don't think I would. I do think that he does open it up, though, with the pass. They run the ball, I think last week they ran the ball 80% of their red zone touches. So that's what I love about him. That's why I love Derrick Henry. They're going to get down to the goal line, and they're going to pound it in, just like the Patriots do with Mike Gillislee. That's what the Titans like to do. So I'm starting Derrick Henry this week. It's been a toss-up, really, between the three running backs of Chris Carson, Derrick Henry, and Dalvin Cook. So I'm struggling to really decide on which ones, but I think I'm for sure going to start Derrick Henry this week.
I think he's a must.
He is. I think he's a must start. I mean, Delaney Walker, I think he's a top 5 tight end every week. I mean, sometimes he's going to give you a little bit less than others, but I think if you have Delaney Walker, you're sitting nice at the tight end position. That's really thin. So I'm starting Derrick Henry. I'm starting Delaney Walker. Titans receivers, it's tough. Like I said, Marcus Mariota has only thrown one touchdown this year, and with those receivers, he spreads it as well. You know, he spreads the ball around. He's got Eric Decker. He's got Rashard Matthews. He had Corey Davis. Corey Davis is not playing this week, so there might be more opportunity for those guys to score. On the Seahawks side of the ball, I have not liked what I seen this year. I have Russell Wilson. I'm not starting him this week. This week is probably the week he goes off because I'm not starting him, but it's just I got to wait and see. Titans' pass defense isn't the best, and their rush defense is a lot better than their pass defense. So I could see, the Seahawks trying to throw up more so than running, but they've got to establish the run to open it up for Russell Wilson. So Chris Carson has been really all preseason we talked about him. Even the last couple of weeks we talked about him. So I think that they continue to ride Chris Carson even with Thomas Rawls healthy. He's gonna get the rock. He's gonna carry it 15 to 20 times. So I mean, that's what you love to see in running back. So if you have Chris Carson, I wouldn't be scared to start him. I really wouldn't. Doug Baldwin, he hasn't produced too much, but he is Russell's number one receiver, and they do have a connection. And I don't think that Jimmy Graham's playing this week. So it's just a little bit more targets for, Doug Baldwin or Tyler Lockett. I don't know about Paul Richardson. I'm not starting Paul Richardson. I'm not starting Tyler Lockett. If I'm starting anyone on that offense, it's going to be Chris Carson and probably Doug Baldwin. If you're desperate at quarterback, obviously play Russell Wilson. But if you have another quarterback, then, for me personally, I'm not really going to roll with Russell until he starts proving that.
So you're between – hold on. You're starting Dak this week? So
I am starting Dak.
Russell on your bench and Dak against solid Cards D, like you stated earlier in this podcast. Yeah. That's a tough one. When Titans D played great last week, but I might feel even a little more comfortable playing Russell this week than Dak.
No, I agree. I can see where you're coming from. It's just with Dak. He threw the ball 50 times last week. Obviously, it was based off of the game because they were down. But that offensive line protects Dak. He gets plenty of time, and he's got some nice weapons on that offense as well. I mean, you got Des Bryant, who I have, and that's kind of what pushes me to start. I mean, we'll talk about the Cowboys in a little bit. I don't want to get too deep in there, but you're right. I mean, for to be honest, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking like, do I start Dak or do I start Russell?
The only reason I brought that up is because you said if you're desperate, you can start Russell Wilson. I don't know if you have to be desperate
right.
to start him this week. So
I just want to see more out of him. If you have two options at quarterback, then that's why I'm saying, start your other guy if he has a better matchup. But like you said, the Titans' pass defense isn't that great, but they did look great last week, and they are at home, so
it looks like a good matchup on paper for the Titans. It really does,
especially
seeing how Seattle's been playing. But I think with Chris Carson at the helm, it really does. It's going to open a lot up for them. But it all goes back to their O-line, which looks like crap at the same time.
And they scored. They scored
it all together. I don't know.
Exactly, man. They scored 12 points against the fucking 49ers, man. The Rams scored 41 last night. So, first of all, it makes me really comfortable about the Rams in the NFC West because,
they're racking them up
They're racking them up, and the Rams play really well against the Seahawks, so it's looking good. But anyways, for this game, you could start Russell. You could start Doug. You could start Carson on the Seahawks. Other than that, I'm not really starting any of them. Titans-wise, I'm starting, Derrick Henry for sure and Delaney Walker. Other than that, I'm not feeling super confident anyone else on that offense.
Absolutely, man. Well, you covered both teams twice. So I think we are good to go there. Obviously, the next one I want to get into.
It's all you, man.
Who do you have for that game, Seahawks and Titans? Who do you have winning? Before we jump into the next one,
I'm going Titans.
At home.
I think Titans take it at home, but I can also see the Seahawks like they're pretty pissed off. They're like, man, people are talking down on us. Like they think we're bad. Their defense is so good. Their defense is really, really good. So they might come out hungry and, really push for a win. So I think it's close. I think this game's close, and I'm going to say Titans, but Seahawks might end up taking it.
I like that pick.
I can't give you a straight answer, but I'm going Titans.
I saw the Niners score 39 points, was it last night? And they played Seattle last week, and it was like a 12-14 game.
12-9.
12-9. That's right, 12-9. So the Seahawks do scare me. They really do. But I do think, like you said, they're really coming out with this game to prove to the world, like, listen, we're a contender out here. You know. So I love the matchup of. I don't know. This is just tough. I'm pondering this decision.
That's what I'm sitting here looking at. Like, I just don't know. I really don't. And it could end up being a shootout for all we know, but I just don't see it happening. Like, Seahawks defense is so good that I don't know, man. It does make me nervous. But like I said, Derrick Henry, this guy's a beast, and I think he just pounds it on him. I mean, they couldn't stop Carlos Hyde last week, so maybe they do game plan to try to stop the run a lot more.
I think so.
It will open up the pass, and Marcus Mariota has shown that he can make plays, man. He's a playmaker, and he's shown tons of potential, but he's also shown, he does make mistakes. He still makes those mistakes that keeps him away from being elite, being one of the top quarterbacks. So until he fixes those little problems, he's never going to get to that level, But I love Marcus Mariota. I mean, I know you love Marcus Mariota as well.
Very much so. Real quick, back on the Seahawks side of things, Chris Carson, Titans' run defense is solid, So with their offensive line as well being kind of shaky, I don't know if this is Chris Carson's best and most comfortable starts, but I think if you have him, it's a super good outlook for him in the rest of the season. I feel like there's some favorable matchups that you're going to be able to plug him in confidently. This week might not be the week, but I think if you have him, you're super comfortable with playing him later on.
And if you need to start a running back, like I said, I'm debating on still playing him. I'm not 100% positive if I'm going to or not. But he's going to get the opportunities. He's going to get the carries. So.
And he can catch it. He really can. He's proven to be an all-around back.
Yeah,
if they're down, they could still have him in playing that game. So
yeah.
I'm going to go Titans too because they're at home, and I love Marcus Mariota, and their defense played lights out last week. So
They did.
I'm going to go Titans as well. So
Cool.
moving on, we got the 0-2, soon to be 0-3 Cincinnati Bengals coming to Lambeau against the Green Bay Packers. Thank goodness Jordy's okay. First off, I want to give him a shout, Jordy Nelson. You scared the crap out of me last week. This is
your boy.
This just could not happen. Randall Cobb, he's doubtful for the game coming up this week, so that obviously is a hit. But that opens the door for these receivers. Like we've seen people come up that can play that spot. So someone to look out for is Geronimo Allison. You know, in case Cobb is out, Geronimo Allison is a sneaky little guy to maybe put into your lineups if you need to, maybe in a deeper league, 16-team league. That could be someone to look out for. But I think Packers give Bengals their first 0-3, or not first. I don't know if there's ever – I got to look up the history on Bengals last time they went 0-3. But this is an 0-3 start to the season for the Bengals. I can guarantee you that. I love, obviously, the start in Aaron Rodgers. You can't not do that. You got to start Jordy if he's playing. Ty Montgomery, he had a monster workload last week, and people are talking about him, you know, he can't take on the load. They should let off on him. He's a monster. He's putting his shoulder down and trying to lay people out. He loves being a running back. He's solid as a rock. I think Ty Montgomery's an easy start every week.
Running back one, man. He's a top 5 running back every week.
I completely agree, and I love the matchup this week as well. Bengals' run defense hasn't been the best. So
no, they haven't, and they don't have Vontaze Burfict, so that's a huge part of the run defense right there. But let me ask you a quick question. They fired their offensive coordinator. The Bengals did. So do you think that they come out firing? You think that maybe this gives them a little firepower? I mean, I've read that they're going to start probably playing Joe Mixon a little bit more, and I mean I think that's a smart decision. He's got the most talent in that backfield, and I mean they've got AJ Green, who's one of the best receivers in the league. So I don't know.
We could definitely see a very, very fantasy relevant game in this game. I think Andy Dalton actually throws a touchdown. Has he thrown a touchdown?
I don't think so, man.
I'm
not sure. I can't.
I don't think he has, but I think AJ Green definitely is a guy to start. We have Mike Daniels, arguably our best player on defense, not playing this weekend. We have Nick Perry, our best number one linebacker. Besides, Clay is out this week as well. So there's going to be a good opportunity for Bengals players to thrive, obviously, this weekend. And Green Bay has shown their defense is good, but obviously not that good. They got lit up last week. So
well, and actually I just read the Bengals haven't even scored an offensive touchdown this year.
They haven't. So this could be the week they're hungry, score a touchdown, but they guarantee you they're going to start this season 0-3. They're not coming into Lambeau to take a W from Aaron Rodgers, and that's my Green Bay Packers.
Seriously, though.
So, Packers, I went over, obviously. I like Geronimo Allison as a sneaky little start. Jordy Nelson, Ty Montgomery, Aaron Rodgers are must starts. Flipping to the Bengals side, you could maybe play Andy Dalton this week just to get a touchdown, maybe 2 touchdowns. Like I said, it could be a fantasy relevant game on offense. I'm excited to see what Joe Mixon's going to bring to the table, like I say, every week, because I want to see more out of the guy. I think he could potentially be a keeper in leagues, but they're just not – I mean, obviously there's 3 running backs back there that are trying to flourish in that offense, so it's tough. But I think Joe Mixon could develop into that keeper eventually. We've seen what he can do, and I think
he's extremely talented, man. I mean, he is a good football player. Yeah,
they're going to give that backfield to him within the next year at the very least. So
they need to play the best players. They got to get the best players on the field, or else they're never gonna score a touchdown. And I just think that he is one of them. And Gio Bernard obviously is a great running back as well, but he's more of that third down. He does. He's just one of the third down catching back. I mean, he's little, so when he runs the ball too much, that's when he gets hurt. So let Joe Mixon run. Let Gio catch, So, yeah, man. I mean, other than, I don't feel really confident in starting any of the Bengals unless it's AJ Green. really.
AJ Green is
And
the guy.
Gio, Gio, because they are going to play from behind.
PPR relevant. He's gonna get 10 points. I feel like that's an easy for Gio
He's
to
a
say.
flex. I'm not
you
saying
could get
start him
10
in your
points.
running back slot. He's a flex.
So it's hard to say. And then they have Tyler Eifert out, so it's going to be hard for them to get the ball going. And if their offensive line can have Andy Dalton stand up for more than 5 seconds, they might be able to do something. Yeah. Otherwise, Packers take this off. They run with it. AJ Green, I do like on the Bengals side. And
Packers all day, man.
Andy Dalton, if he can get on the board, he might be able to be if you have a bad position in quarterback, which you probably don't this early in the league. So this early in the season, I mean. So,
yes, sir. Cool, man.
Packers all day. 0-3
all day,
Bengals.
Man. I agree. Packers take this one, and it's not even close. Let's move on. We got 3 more games. Let's get through them, Jay. We got Chiefs at Chargers. Kareem Hunt.
Melvin Gordon.
Starting him every week. Melvin Gordon, it does kind of worry me. I don't know if you saw, he got put on the injury list. He was on the injury report. He's questionable to play, but I read he's probably going to play. So, obviously, you're starting Melvin Gordon every week. You're starting Kareem Hunt every week.
He's of
course. And then Keenan Allen, PPR monster. I mean, this guy, he catches everything his way. He runs great routes. Phillip Rivers has complete trust in him.
And I was speaking super highly really quick of Marcus Peters like 2 podcasts ago. The week before his last game, this last Sunday. And, man, he didn't look like the same Marcus Peters. I feel like this happens every time I talk highly about somebody. They look like a different player out there. Obviously, it's a defensive player, so it doesn't really matter for anything. But Keenan Allen versus Marcus Peters this weekend is going to be a big matchup. I think Marcus Peters is going to shadow Keenan Allen.
I don't think so because Keenan Allen lines up in the slot a lot, and Marcus Peters doesn't follow into the slot.
I see the best defender on the best receiver in this matchup.
The only team that has had their top corner shadow anyone the entire year, it's been
JJ on Dez.
Well, yeah. But I'm saying the only corner that's every play is shadowed the best receiver is PP, Patrick Peterson. He's the only corner that's actually followed a top receiver every single play that he's been in. So even if Marcus Peters, he's going to probably cover Keenan Allen, but Keenan does line up in the slot majority of the time, and I don't see him following him into the slot. But I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I'm starting Keenan, man. I think Keenan's a must-start every week, especially in PPR.
And that's what my point was is watching him get torched not torched last week, but he didn't look like as aggressive Marcus Peters. Yeah. So if Marcus Peters can't keep up with Keenan Allen, no one on none of those DBs are going to go to keep up with Keenan Allen. So Keenan Allen is an easy start this week without a doubt.
He is, man. So Chargers side of the ball, I mean, I'm starting Keenan. I'm starting Melvin Gordon. Phillip Rivers, I think Phillip Rivers is he's a good quarterback start. I mean, he's not going to be a top 5 quarterback, but I feel like he puts up top 12 numbers every week. He's going to get you he's not going to kill it, but he's not going to flunk out on you like some of these guys do. He's got a nice floor. And then Travis Kelce, I'm sorry, jumping to the Chiefs, but tight end. Speaking of tight ends,
who do you like more, Hunter or AG?
Well, I don't know, man. Hunter Henry gave you a big fat nothing week 1, and then look at him last week. A lot of people benched him, and he killed it. He killed it. So it's a. I think Hunter Henry's the guy. I think Antonio Gates is getting to the end, and he's gonna steal touchdowns. That's the only problem is he's gonna be the red zone target. But Hunter Henry's gonna get the volume.
He gets them all the way down the field.
He does.
He got
man.
7 targets last week, and I think Antonio Gates only had 4. But of course, he got a touchdown. So that's what he's going to steal out of him. So you could realistically start either one of them if you need to. But Henry's going to get you more points and more PPR, relevancy. I feel like
you're hoping for a touchdown with Antonio Gates, but I don't really like. So I mean,
also with if you get a touchdown with Hunter Henry. You know that you're looking really good.
You are, man. That's a 15 to 20 point game from him. So I don't know. I'm starting Hunter Henry. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm starting Hunter Henry because I still want to see more out of him. I want to see some more consistency.
And the Chiefs defense is nasty, man.
They are, man.
Scary. They're gonna get to Philip Rivers, he's going to be getting rid of that ball as fast as he can. Chiefs just look way too good.
But he's good at that. He's good at getting the ball out quickly.
But at the same time, when he doesn't, he gets frustrated, and I've seen that Chargers defense just kind of crumble beneath their eyes. When you got Justin Houston killing you back there, I mean, it's going to be tough, man. I'm telling you.
It is.
So that's interesting. That is very interesting.
It is. But I mean, I'll start Gordon. I'll start Allen. Hunter Henry is one of those guys that you can start, but I don't know about that. But other than that, Chargers, Tyrell Williams, he's up and down. Some games he has good ones, and some games he doesn't.
I like it. I like it. I like Tyrell Williams, man. He's a solid receiver, man. He's a big body. I like what he brings to the table.
Really then obviously you got Travis Benjamin, he's a home run hitter, man. That's the thing though, is like
2 catches, 50 yards,
exactly,
and a touchdown.
Exactly, man. So I mean, he's one of those guys that I'm not playing unless you are in a deep league, 14 to 16 teams. Other than that, I mean, Chargers.
He's hard to play. You can't do it. He's too risky.
And then Chiefs, same thing with the Chiefs. I mean, they only got a couple players that I'm going to play every week. I mean,
4 players.
Who are you
4
thinking?
players.
Who are you thinking?
I love Alex Smith, first off. You got to start Tyreek Hill every week. You got to start Kareem Hunt every week. And whoever got Kareem Hunt out there, I'm so jealous of you. You guys, honestly, I wish I had him. I really do. And then Travis Kelce. Those are the 4 guys you start in that Kansas City offense. So that's easy. That's definitely an easy one for me. And Chargers defense has been very skeptical. So I think it's definitely something that Chiefs can exploit, and we'll see even more out of the Chiefs like they have been. Starting out 3-0. Honestly, that's what I'm getting to, 3-0. So, Chargers are going to work hard. It's going to be a very good set.
3-0, 0-3.
Right back to back. 0-3, Bengals and Chiefs, obviously 3-0.
I don't know, man. I think Chargers take this one. They're at home. They need a win. They've lost the last 2 games in the last bit of the game. So, I think Chargers come out and they win at home in front of the home crowd, man.
Well, we'll see. I definitely I can't wait to come back next week and lay that one on the table for you.
Yeah.
Chiefs starting 3-0, without a doubt. So that's both those teams. Who you start, who you don't. We're not really doing don'ts, I guess. We're just doing people we like.
Yeah, exactly. And the other guys,
don't
start
like.
Start them if you want. Yeah, exactly. We're not going to start them. Let's go to the Sunday night football game. One of the games that
Raiders.
The Raiders at Redskins. And, there's games where you're playing someone, so you want their players to do bad. And,
and you're really bad at that, though, by giving out advice off of will that you want.
I know.
But I think we're all pretty guilty of
We
that.
are. And
I am as well.
I mean, Derek Carr, he's a freaking beast, man. That guy is such a great quarterback.
I'll tell you what, Dylan. Let me tell you a little story. Last week, I was playing Mr. Micah Step. He had Derek Carr. Let me tell you what. Derek Carr just was creeping along. Touchdown, 6 points. First quarter, great. Okay, that's expected. Second quarter, another touchdown. Oh, my gosh. Okay, that's expected, 13. I look later, because I had already lost at this point. I look later. The guy does – I was like, hopefully he just stays right around this area. He doesn't beat me up too bad. Derek Carr is relentless. Don't even think for a second that he's going to take it easy on you and not score a lot of points, because that's what he came here to do. And
it scares me.
He's gonna flourish like he did last week against me.
Well, and it sucks because Josh Norman isn't 100%, and he's like fighting to play, and they're saying that there's a small chance that he doesn't, but I think he will, but he's not 100%. So that just sucks, because they've got Michael Crabtree, who is just dominating. They have Amari Cooper, who's one of the young up-and-coming receivers. I mean, Jared Cook, he's one of those guys that you can start. The Redskins are getting torn up by tight ends, and Jared Cook, he's been pretty consistent this year. He's gotten, I think, 5 catches in both games. Not too many yards, but
Jared Cook is a sneaky start this week. Tyler mentioned him last podcast, and I like it. He's someone if you have tight end problems like Dylan, you could look towards. Dylan's definitely past that stage. He locked himself in, but I like it. But I think also the Raiders start another team 3-0. They're coming into this matchup 2-0. I think they walk away with this 3-0 because Washington Redskins defense looks they're just getting torn up. They're getting their asses kicked.
They are, man.
On every occasion. So
I think that I think you can start Derek Carr. I think you can start Amari Cooper. I think you can start Michael Crabtree. I think you can start Jared Cook. I mean, the Raiders' offense is one of the top offenses in the league, so I think it's definitely a group of players you can start on a weekly basis and feel comfortable about it. And the Redskins' defense isn't anything to really be scared of. I mean, they have some good players on there, and they did shut the Rams down last week. I guess not shut them down, but they just weren't as productive. But Todd Gurley had a great game last week as well against the Redskins. So Marshawn definitely can. But Marshawn is a different player than he used to be. He is still beast mode, but he's just not getting as many carries and stuff because I don't think he can handle it.
But he's getting those red zone. He's going to be in. They want him to score, so he's getting those end zone looks. He's probably going to get you a touchdown every week. I think so. But I don't mind. I hope you don't mind. But I kind of want to flip the script to the Redskins real quick.
No, absolutely. I was done with the Raiders. I mean, pretty much start the Raiders.
Yeah, start the Raiders. You know what to expect out of those guys. They have a high-powered offense that gets it done, but especially against a weak Redskins defense to this point. But Terrell Pryor, Dylan, I've been high on, you've been high on coming into the season. Obviously, the first 2 weeks have been awfully scary looking at what our boy's doing to us. But I still have hope. I really do.
I do too. He's targeting him. He's a good player, man.
I think Terrell Pryor really comes into beast mode here soon and turns it around.
Well, Raiders' pass defense isn't the best too, man. So
that's what I was going to say.
If he's going to come out, yeah, man.
This could be the game where we see Terrell Pryor really put up 20-plus points. I really feel like it.
Well, no, I could see that. And, someone else I'm actually pretty high on the Redskins that I'm not for sure if he's going to play or not. He got hurt last week. Is Fat Rob. Fat Rob ain't so fat. We've talked about this before. He's a beast, man. He's a hard runner. And, I mean, week 1, it was just a game script, so he didn't get that many carries. So everyone kind of wrote him off. But I went to the Rams game last week, and he tore them up. And he only played about half the game. And
even with CT coming off that game, he just came off of Chris Thompson. I mean,
it's crazy because Chris Thompson – everyone keeps talking about how amazing game he had. He had a huge 80-yard run, so that's obviously going to spike his stats.
Yeah.
And I think he caught a touchdown as well. So he had some big plays, and that's why, everyone's saying he had a big game. But really, it was he had limited touches. And, Samaje P. Ryan, he's the one who got he had 21 carries, He didn't do much with them.
Well, that's where Chris Thompson, I mean, he rushed for a touchdown, and I think he caught a pass for a touchdown.
He did.
That fantasy relevancy right there, that fantasy
But that's not going to happen every week, man. It's not,
but I think and that's where I know. Chris Thompson's a nightmare to me because I go through this with him every freaking year. I can't stand it. So, honestly, you're right. I don't even want to touch it because he just is so up and down. He's going to give you such inconsistency.
And also, it makes me a little nervous when the Redskins coaching staff says they want to limit him because he's a smaller back and they don't want him to get hurt. So they're not going to feed him the rock. They're not going to give him the ball. I mean, majority of the games, he doesn't even have 5 rushes.
Yeah,
he doesn't get over 5 rushes.
He ended with, I think, 3 rushes.
Yeah, exactly, man. So
3 times for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He's more of he's like a James White type of player. Obviously, James White gets a little bit more production because Tom Brady loves him. But Chris Thompson, he can make big plays for you. But if Fat Rob's playing, I'm starting him. I think Fat Rob is at least a high-end running back 2, low-end running back 1 on some weeks, depending on the matchup. Everyone was worried that he, did something, fractured his chest. I don't know exactly, but it's only like a strain. I don't know exactly. It's a bruise. I don't know, but
his ribs. So his ribs. So if
it's
he's
under
out,
his ribs,
though,
it's not even his rib. It's like underneath, like cartilage or something. It's like a cartilage that like is bruised or something. And he practiced. He had practice this week, so I think he's gonna play. And I mean, it depends on how hurt he really is. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
He obviously didn't come back to the game, so he must have been hurting. But I heard it's like one of those things that you can get like a shot for and take away the pain. And they'll probably test him out and see how he feels. And I think that if he plays, he's gonna produce for you.
If he doesn't, Chris Thompson's the guy, though. He really is.
Yeah.
Perrine struggled. He struggled.
He did. He struggled to find the holes that Fat Rob can find. That's the thing about Fat Rob is he's got great vision. He has great vision, and the Redskins offensive line is very underrated, I believe. I mean, they got some good players on that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So I like them. I like that offensive line. I do think that the Redskins are going to give the Raiders a little bit of a run for their money. Captain Kirk, I was really high on him, and then I came back down just like Terrell Pryor. But I do think that Captain Kirk gets it together and turns the season around and starts producing because they don't have that tough of a schedule, So
him and TP, man, they're about to go ham.
But another thing is Jordan Reed. He's not 100% to play. He might not play. They're going to test him out pregame, and that might change it up a little bit. So you got to watch out for that. If you have Jordan Reed, obviously you want to start him every week. But if you have him, please make sure to have another guy ready. It's tough because it's a Sunday night game. So I don't. It's risky. It's risky. It really is.
And there's a lot of guys, tight ends guys that are hurt and questionable this week. So
it is.
Grab someone on that waiver wire right now.
If you have Jordan Reed, I would definitely pick up Jared Cook. Just to have for that pregame, if he doesn't play, you can throw Jared Cook in there.
Jared Cook, or what about Vernon Davis?
Last year when Jordan Reed didn't play, he was a top 5 tight end.
He was amazing. So both those guys are probably on your waiver wire. So if you're in that tight end jam, go for that game, especially if it's that Monday or that is this a Monday night game?
Sunday night.
Sunday night game. You have to get one of those guys because you don't know what's going to happen. So
what about Jamison Crowder? What do you think about him?
Man, I love the guy, but if Kirk turns it around, Jamison Crowder is included in that,
And I think that if Jordan Reed doesn't play, I think it does open it up a little bit for Crowder. I mean, last week he only saw 5 targets, but then again, the game plan was to run the ball. They were tearing the Rams up, so they started running it. So he caught 4 or 5 targets for 47 yards, which is not bad. But, with Jamison Crowder we saw last year, he was catching, 6, 7, 8 balls a game. So that's what made him so valuable in PPR, and I was really high on him. So
well, he had the week before that, he had 7 targets, only caught 3 of them for 14 yards. So it's just he struggled to start the season, but not everyone's perfect. Everyone has the ability to turn around, and that's that offense. Underrated offensive line. They have running backs that are monsters, and they have the wide receiver power. I think they're bound to turn around, especially with the franchise tag for the 25th year, Kirk Cousins. I mean, they're bound to do some work. So
I'll flex Jamison Crowder. I'll start Terrell Pryor. I'll flex Jamison Crowder. I do think that the Redskins score. I mean, I think the Raiders do score quite a bit of points, so the Redskins are going to have to score as well to stay into the game.
Yeah, it's not going to be that's why I think it's going to be hard for me to start Rob Kelly this week because Raiders are going to be a high-powered scoring offense like they always are, so it's going to be a come-from-behind game for the Redskins fighting, throwing the ball.
I think it's gonna be closer than a lot of people think. I think it is closer.
I don't think
that Rob Kelly can.
I don't think they're gonna take it away, but I feel like Chris Thompson might have another pretty nice week, honestly.
Definitely, man. But
as much as I'm up and down with them,
I'm going Redskins. I think Redskins win.
Wow.
I think they give the Raiders the first loss of the year.
Okay.
I'm excited to see it. I do think the Redskins are gonna start producing on the offensive end of the ball. So
after seeing Marshawn Lynch crumping, I think that coming off a huge win, I think Raiders come into Washington and take the W. It's too hard not to go off what how they're playing right now. Raiders come in and get this W. I can't wait to flip the script on you again next week and let you know about that W because Redskins defense just doesn't have it. The defense wins games and championships. Raiders don't have the best defense either, but it's a better defense than Redskins in my opinion, so they come out on top. Raiders,
all right, we'll see. Let's go Redskins.
So I think the last one to cover here is Monday Night Football.
And this is a huge game for me because
Des?
I do think that I'm going to be playing from behind once we get to Monday night if I do start Dak and Des.
That's what happens.
Because I had a 0 with Everett. So pretty much I'm playing one man down. I'm playing one man down in my lineup. So I need a big week from, a few players to kind of catch up. And I'm hoping that this Monday night game does catch me up. The only thing that makes me nervous is Mike has Jason Witten, who has been – he's the number one tight end in fantasy right now. So it's a little nerve-wracking to start him, and I'm just hoping that it's more of a Des Bryant game than the Jason Witten game, because Jason Witten has these big games, and then all of a sudden he has 1 or 2 catches. So it's hard for me to – I'm going to be a little biased, obviously, based off fantasy. And, I've got Larry Fitzgerald, but I'm not going to play him this week.
That's surprising to me.
It is, but I kind of have a lot of receiver depth. I don't have the best running backs, but, I'm starting Dez. I'm starting Keenan. So those are my 2 receiver spots. And then my flex, I'm actually
you going –
I'm going Rashad Higgins.
I like it.
I'm starting Higgins this week. I need one of those guys that I can hope to score 20, 25 points. And obviously Fitzgerald can do it. But I didn't like what I saw last week. And I just think that the teams are going to game plan around trying to stop Larry, because I think Larry is their best offensive weapon without David Johnson out there. So I do think that they kind of do game plan around Larry. It showed last week when – I mean, actually, he really didn't – he only got, I believe, 5 targets last week or something like that. So it just makes me nervous. It's just up and down, with that.
Does Zeke return? I
think so. I think the Cowboys win. I think the Cowboys come out, and they got embarrassed last week. They didn't just lose. They got embarrassed, man. So I do think that they come out and they show America what they're about. I think they are one of the best offenses in the league. They've got so many weapons, and they've got one of the best offensive lines in the league. So I do think they come out, and the Cardinals' defense is good, but they've shown, like in week 1, that they can get scored on by a good offense. And I think it's a good game for Dak. I think it's a good game for Dez. I mean, Dez, it's so up and down. You just got to hope for the best, because he got 16 targets last week. He only caught 7 of them. So it makes me nervous, and 2 of them were interceptions. So Dak does force him the ball sometimes, even when he shouldn't. But it makes me happy, because especially in the red zone. I'm going Dak. I'm going Zeke. I'm going Dez. And if I have Witten, I'm starting him, obviously. I'm hoping he doesn't have a great game, but I'm starting him. Cardinals side of the ball, Carson, Palmer, I just don't trust the guy anymore. Running back situation, if I'm starting any of them, it's probably going to be, Chris Johnson supposedly is supposed to get a lot more carries. Cowboys rush defense looked terrible last week against the Broncos and C.J. Anderson. So, I mean, I don't know. I really don't. Cardinals' offensive line is bad. It's not good.
Cardinals' whole offense right now is scary to me. Carson Palmer's arm is scary to me. But I still love Larry Fitzgerald. He's still getting the looks.
He is.
But I don't know. Behind Larry Fitzgerald, I don't know if there's another person on that offense I feel comfortable about besides J.J. Nelson, who I don't know if is playing or not. So if J.J. Nelson is playing, that's also somebody that is doing work in that offense. We saw it last week.
He is, man. And the Cowboys don't have the best corners in the league. So, I mean, Nelson, he practices just limited. But it is his hamstring. So that is worrisome, especially for a speedster like him. You're going full speed, you're running hard. That's when you can, hurt yourself even more with that hamstring / groin, all that good stuff in the leg. So I don't know. I just think the Cowboys do run the table. So Cardinals probably will have to play catch up. So they will have to throw the ball. So, I mean, if you have Larry Fitzgerald, you're starting him. You're going to put him in there. You're going to play him. What's crazy a stat is J.J. Nelson right now is a number 3 receiver in fantasy football. It's only been 2 weeks. But I mean, this guy, he scored 2 touchdowns in a row. I mean, he's getting the targets, and he has the speed to make plays. So if Carson can make those throws, then, J.J. Nelson will continue to be dangerous. And Carson Palmer is shown to be that guy, but like you said, he's been scaring me. So, I mean, for this game, like I said, Cardinals, the only people I really feel comfortable with starting is Larry Fitz, and if J.J. Nelson plays, I'll start J.J. Nelson as well. Probably in the flex. I don't think I'm going to put him in my receiver spot.
But gosh, man, he's been killing it. He's been on a rampage, J.J. Nelson. So it's hard not to at least flex him,
But last year he did the same thing, man.
Yeah, actually, it's what he does. He gets streaky, he gets hot, and then falls off an absolute cliff.
It's crazy. Last year, from week 13 to week 17, he scored 4 touchdowns out of those 5 games. Week 13, he got 1 pass for 42 yards and a touchdown. Week 14, 1 catch for 8 yards and a touchdown. Week 15, 5 catches, 38 yards, a touchdown. Week 16, 3 catches, 132 yards, and a touchdown. And then week 17, 4 catches for 75 yards. So, I mean, he showed at the end of last season he can be the guy. And so far this season, he might be the guy. He might end up being the number one receiver there. He might be a top receiver in the league by the end of the year. So keep an eye on him. Obviously, if he's in that waiver, if he's in the waivers, I mean, pick him up. I mean, he's shown to be a playmaker. So that's my 2 cents on the game. I do think Cowboys win this game.
To backtrack just really, really quick here. I knew I was leaving someone out, and it kills me to go through and not say something. Back to the Packers game. If Randall Cobb is out, I've never mentioned Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams came off a monstrous game. If you have him, man, you better be happy to start him this week without a doubt. All right, sorry, I just wanted to mention that in there because I think that wraps up all of our games this week, does it not?
It does. It definitely does. And guys, like we said, if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at theleague.podcast. Again, at theleague.podcast, and on Twitter at theleaguepod. We will be posting this on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well. I mean, that's where we're posting all this stuff. So our link will be in our bio. Click the link and subscribe to us so that you get alerts when we do post. Obviously, we're going to let you know on social media, but if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe so you just get those updates. And thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And please send us your questions. Send us your questions on our social media so that we can get back to an answer. We definitely want to try and get another podcast for you guys on really our top players to really start and sit. I mean, we kind of did cover it for all these games, but I do kind of want to cover more so like our must starts and our must sits. Obviously, those obvious players like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady are going to start.
But there has to be those predictions and people that we kind of – you have to go out on a limb and take that chance on if you really want to go get crazy points. So these are going to be people to look out for. And like Dylan said, all those questions, we're going to be answering all those questions you have on who to start. We're going to give you our opinion, so hopefully it makes it a little easier. So get it to us, and we'll give you something in return. So thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been awesome. I can't wait to get back to you again soon. Good luck this weekend, everybody. Go get them. Go get that W.
Absolutely, Tyler. Shout out to you, buddy. We missed you as usual. Hopefully you'll join us next time around. Jay, always a pleasure, man. I love doing this. It's so much fun. Man, have a great night. Guys, have a great night, and good luck this weekend. I hope our fantasy input helps you out. I hope it helps me out because I really, really need the help. I'm one man down. So I'll let you guys know how it goes. Obviously, after the round of Sunday games, we're going to do a Sunday night podcast and kind of cover everything. So Monday morning, you guys wake up and you guys are ready to listen on your way to work and get going for that Monday night game.
And then you got Monday night game, and then only the day after that, Tuesday, we're going to let out every Tuesday who to pick up on that waiver wire because obviously
it's
Wednesday morning, 3 a.m., between 1 and 3 a.m., I guarantee you're up checking those waiver wires to see who you got. So expect, we got a lot of stuff coming your way.
Guys, remember, you don't win the league by your draft. You win the league by playing the waiver. So don't forget to play the waiver. I mean, it's so important. And we're going to keep, like Jake said, we're going to keep reminding you. We're going to post those on Tuesday for you so that you are able to get the input on the best guys out there. Obviously, you can read about it on NFL and all that good stuff. But we're going to give you those guys, and we're going to let you know how we feel. And I feel like for the most part, we're attacking that waiver wire every single week. But, yeah, sorry, guys. We'll let you go now. Have a great night, Jay. Like I said, always a pleasure, man. Have a great night. I'll talk to you later.
What did I do? What did I do? The league, huh?